Yes, sir. So, can you please give a brief introduction of yourself?
So, I am Dr. Ayan Kar. I'm a consultant cardiologist at RN Hospital.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Let's start with this interview. So, my first question is that what do you think about stammering, and what do you think that what can be the probable cause of it?
Okay. So, the problem is that I'm a doctor, so I will give you whatever I know neurologically about stammering. It
Yes,
may
sir.
not be, I'm not an expert in the field of stammering, but this is what I know. What I feel about stammering is more of a functional disorder. It's not really a organic or an anatomical disorder. It's not a disorder because you have some anatomical defect in your body. It's because your brain functions a little differently from other people. And as far as I'm concerned, in most cases, stammering is generally a treatable disorder. The problem with stammering is it comes with a bit of social stigma,
Yes, sir.
and thanks to a lot of peer pressure, it causes a lot of trauma, psychological trauma to the person who actually suffers from stammering.
Yes, sir. Like this, like if we consider this stammering as an iceberg, so the part above the water is like the physiological glitch, and the part below the water is like that consists of the shame, guilt, and those traumas which we face during the childhood. Yes, so
Which
during our
makes it all the more difficult to treat it.
yes, sir. Yes. So my next question is. What do you think that starters should do to help themselves?
So I'm thinking aloud here, and I don't think this is the way probably it is done. But I would say that you should have now, given the age of Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp, I think you should have small social groups or other groups where you have common interests, people who have stuttering as a problem. And I think you should have a lot of social awareness too. So it is important that people who have had issues with stammering, they open themselves up and they show that it is not a problem which actually cannot be treated, and it is something that you should not be ashamed about. The importance is that it is important that you tell people and the society that stuttering or stammering, as we call it, is not something to be ashamed of. It is something that needs to be aggressively helped with. So people with stammering, ideally, if they are helped or if they are encouraged and if they seek the right form of help, I think it becomes far more easier to treat. Because if I recollect the statistics, I think 9 out of 10 stammering people who have stammering issues, they are absolutely treatable. They're 100% treatable. So which leaves you that 1% who might have some major issues. But then apart from that, so if it's a 90% treatable issue, it tells you that you need to have a lot of aggressive awareness about it. You need to teach people so that more and more people who have that stammering. So you were talking about the 90% of the iceberg which is below the water, they actually come out in the open. They accept the fact that they do stammer and they do it proudly. So that it is no more a social taboo, it's no more a social stigma.
Yes, sir. So that is what this TISA, the Indian Stammering Association, is trying to do, like educate people about the stammering, and to accept that we have this problem and there is nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, so my third question is that have you ever confronted a stutterer, and why do you think that like why do people think that people like the person who stammers do it deliberately and not uh, involuntarily?
So my tryst with stammering is mostly limited to school, my school life. So I had quite a few friends who would stammer, and of course, then I was not a doctor, and then of course I was just like any other boy, and of course, it people made fun of them. People used to crack jokes at them. It was a problem. We could only feel bad about them at some point of time, but nobody really knew how to help them always. Of course, in certain cases, when when these children or when these so-called schoolmates, they actually took up elocution and they decided to recite things in front of the public assembly and they got their fears sorted, they actually became very good speakers later on. So the intention of telling you is that most of these people, but remember they did this on their own. So not all everybody has that capacity to fight their fear of stammering alone. A lot of people need help. And as far as you said, doing it deliberately, I do not think stammering comes deliberately. I think it is predominantly involuntary. It is the way how your language processing center in the brain works. Rather, it is important to understand that this part of the language processing center in the brain can ideally be taught to function better. So it's all about, thinking it out and, taking your time to process your words. So that generally helps with stammering. So that flight of speech, as we call it, flight of speech is something where, you're trying to say things a lot of it. You're trying to choose the right words. You're trying to express yourself. So people have problems in doing that. So that is, I think, the root cause of stammering sometimes. So that I think generally can be helped with. All that it needs is probably a patient listener, somebody who's willing to understand that this problem is not something that can be made fun of, and that you gradually help that person, and people generally do well.
Yes, like for me, uh, when I was a kid, so this problem was like I couldn't tell the present ma'am during the attendance calls and couldn't give answers during the vivas. So this continued till my master days, and then I took this free counseling, which was provided at our university. Okay, so then the COVID came and like all it went to when, but then I was trying different things to cope up with this stammering, because like I was like a completely mute person. Okay, like I couldn't even talk back at that time this well. Okay, so so I then I came across this TISA and those public speaking, like going to the public and talking with strangers about stammering, really helped me a lot to deal with it. Yeah, so yeah, so like let's come to this question that do you have a question on stammering? Like, do you have a question on stammering?
So my question to you would be that why did you decided to take help for stammering so late in your life? Why did you decide to address it earlier? Was it because you did not receive help, or you did not know how to receive help, or you did not know who to go for help?
Like my parents always thought that, well, I did this voluntarily, like not something coming in voluntarily. So then like well I like I tried to take help because of this job interviews. Like I have to speak uh, well there, so I need to at least communicate something so that I can get the job. And yeah, there was no one to help me, and there was no one I could take help from and tell these things about the stammering. Yeah, but the professors in my university were really helpful, and they actually told me about this counseling thing, that uh, I should take this counseling so that it helps helps to cope with the shame and guilt that I have while stammering. Yeah.
True, true. But that what you said currently is it's very, very true that some of parents don't realize that this is a problem,
Yeah.
and they feel that you are doing it because it's a deliberate act, and that you do it because you want to make them angry, or you're doing it because you don't want to study. But then that it amounts to a lot of torture for that child, no, who feels that he really has a problem, and the parents feel that you are just malingering and you're just not doing the right thing. So it's so much of trauma.
Yeah, like I remember my father saying that this problem of yours is uh, worse than cancer, So I remember that, and my teachers and friends also, made fun of me and mimicked me, and so those all thing like made me a
Made it worse.
mute person. And then yeah, like uh, when I joined this MSc, then I tried to realize, okay, so this is high time that I should come out and deal with this stammering thing. And then
So
what
do you
happened?
stammer more in English or do you more stammer in Bengali? I think you stammer more with English than with Bengali. Am I right?
Yeah, like no, like I
মানে
stammer.
আমাদের whatever is our mother tongue, I think we generally tend to say things much easier with that. But with English, it's not our mother tongue. It's not something which we speak in the house so which is it's always very difficult. So I think it's all about how you process.
Yeah, like I stammer more when I talk with, like an high authority person. So I stammer more there. Like uh, uh, with my friends, I do not stammer, and with my parents, I do not stammer now. Okay, so now, like before in the past, I used to stammer a lot with my friends and parents too. But now, after trying all these techniques like pausing, prolongation, bouncing, like I have controlled it a bit. Yes, so but I think that stammering is not my weakness, and this is my strength, because stammering gave me a very good memory, like uh, doing when I did the previous TOPG, and there I took interview of my professor. Like that professor was very scary, when we were studying in that university. Then, but when I took this interview, then he offered me a coffee. So that, like, that is a very good memory for me, and that was the first time I felt that, okay, so I should be thankful to my stammering for giving me this opportunity of having a coffee with my favorite professor. So
That's
from,
good. That's
yeah, yeah, and yes, so like, and from then I think that stammering might be a blessing for me also. It's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Otherwise, we won't be having this interview also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Like I, I do admire you a lot too because of your like personality, uh, which is very friendly, and I have always wanted to be like that, like this friendly and very uh, warming personality, but I couldn't have this kind of personality because of my stammering. Like I was
I
always
don't think
seen.
stammering can decide on personalities, but I think it doesn't matter. So you can still be, as you correctly said, I think now you don't have so much trouble with friends. You are far more easier to manage your friendships. I don't think you stammer around friends. So I don't think it will stop you from doing that. And I think I know you sing very well.
Yes, sir.
So singing sometimes helps in stammering. It helps you in processing better. And I think you should do more public speaking. I think that will make you even better. So you need to
Yes,
get rid of that fear, the fear that has been ingrained in you since your childhood. I think that needs to go out.
yes,
So take the opportunity to speak publicly
fear and
wherever
the
you can.
shame also. Like the shame is very much working in
Shame
my
is
brain.
something that the society puts it. Yes, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that even our schooling system does not recognize it, which
Teachers
is sad.
also don't understand that what they are doing
So which
to
is
their
why I think
students.
there should be a lot of awareness. So once you overcome this, you should probably go back to your school and talk to them about having such a session in school where you can say that you overcame stammering, and so that you can at least teach your students, your teachers, colleagues that stammering is a problem which is helped by encouraging these children, and by not shaming them publicly,
Yeah,
because it makes it far worse.
yeah. Yes, sir. So I stammered quite a few times in this interview. So do you feel like, did you find any problem in understanding my questions?
No, I did not have any trouble in understanding your questions.
Yes, sir. And you have seen me face to face also, and well, I spoke
So I
there
was not
too.
aware that you stammer. I was
So
not aware that you stammer. So it
did
tells
you
you that you probably
notice
it's
my stammering or
no,
not? And
no, I did not.
and did you notice it in this video meet also? Like my lips move sometimes when I get stuck.
I did. But I believe you. So I understand that there's some part of you which consciously tries to, slow down your pace of sentence, think your next word. And in that process, your lips do move a little bit, but then that's okay.
Yes, that's okay.
That's what we're trying to fight here.
Yeah, we are trying to fight here.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. And like I would like to ask a few questions about the doctor's life. Okay, so can I? Like three very fun
sure.
questions. Yeah. Yes, sir. So,
Fun question.
so doctors always say that get a good sleep and have a good diet. So, do doctors themselves follow it? Like, do they get a good sleep, or is it just
So
for the
sleep comes
patients?
at a premium to us. Sleep does come at a premium to us. It is not something that comes very easily. That's true. That's mostly because patients can become bad even at night. So you really can't say no to them when they call. So often sleep is interrupted because of that. But yeah, we actively try to switch off at night. So at some point in our life, so in our training periods, we've been up and about. So for a doctor to become a specialist, it takes about 15 years, 15 plus minus 2 3 years. So you take about 15 to 20 years for a doctor to become a specialist. So those few years of training, it basically involves a lot of night duties. It involves working long hours. So you're working 70 to 80 hours a week. So we are generally trained that way. It's like paramilitary commandos. You're psychologically trained to live with lack of sleep. But then that does not always help. At some point of time, age catches up with you, which is why at some point of time we realize that you need to switch off. So we switch off. We tell patients that if you have an emergency at night, calling doesn't help. You need to come to the emergency. You need to get admitted, get people to see you. A phone call really doesn't make a huge lot of help. But then yes, sometimes we do need to take calls at night. Let's say there is a heart attack in the night and you need to act and etc. So but that happens generally once a week whenever you're called. So we try to do it as much as possible. As far as diet is concerned, well, thanks to our schedule, we get to eat very little. So we manage with 2 meals in a day. It's mostly home cooked meals. So yeah, we managed to do our diet. Yes, previously when I was a little younger, I used to eat a lot. But now that I've grown and I've become a cardiologist and I tell my patients to eat less. So unfortunately, I also end up eating less. So I don't eat out. I don't eat much outside. So stick to home meals. Try to keep as. But problem, as you correctly said, is that our meals are untimely sometimes because we don't have schedules which are very regular.
Yeah, so
So we don't have fixed schedules.
but that does affect your health too, right? Like doctors are
It
human
does.
beings too, so that's quite
Yeah,
weird.
but see, the system is not geared up like that. So our system out here does not work that way. So it's not like the national health system in UK, let's say, where you have fixed hours. You cannot work as a doctor beyond a certain hours a week. If you do, you get a call from the NHS authorities telling that you're overworking. You basically, if you are at a consultant level like I am, so generally Friday, Saturday, Sundays, your weekend, you are off. You don't work. It's as simple as that. So but then that kind of teaching or that kind of practice is not followed in India. So we generally work 24/7. That's the
Yes.
sorry state of things. Yes, it does take a toll on our health, which is why we've nowadays become more wiser and we make wiser choices, and sometimes we just have to say no. We have to say that okay, we just can't do it. It's not possible, because sometimes it's even in the better interest of a patient. So having a doctor who's very tired doing an operation rather than having a doctor who's very fresh at an operation, the outcomes can also vary. So it's very important for the patient, but the system does not look at it that way.
Yes, and that does affect a good work-life balance also. Like we all want a good work-life balance, but doctors, well, I think that they do not have it.
So today, after being in medicine for let's say 20 years now, so I've been a doctor for now 22 decades. So 2 decades, you are right. So if I could go back in time, I would definitely have chosen a better field, somewhere where I could at least have my weekends off, where I could take more trips, where I could go out more often, enjoy more often. Yes, I would have really done that, but then I can't make that choice anymore.
Yes, like we do not have the time travel machine till now.
Nah, not happening. So advice is that don't become a doctor.
Yes, like I can't also become a doctor now as I've chosen physics.
It's good. It's good. It's good. You should become a physicist. I think you'll make better discoveries. At least you won't have to not sleep. Even if you don't sleep at night, you're probably thinking about something good,
Yes.
not about a very difficult patient.
Yes, sir. And well, whenever I go to consult you, well, I sometimes feel that doctor's life can be very monotonous. Like patients are always talking about their uh, diseases, and like doctors are like always seeing blood, and so this is kind of very boring. Like, so what motivates you as a doctor? So that will be my last question.
So see, a good part about being doctor is that you're also it's like see, I'll put it this way. So it's like having a social life. So it's not like we have a social life outside the hospital. So our social life is largely restricted to the hospital. So we have lots of patients, different problems. So a lot of problems are not always medical. You have a lot of issues. Some have other problems. So it's like listening to stories. You have different stories. Each patient comes with a different story, and we've got used to it. That's how I would put it. We find our happiness in listening to patients, in hearing their stories out, and in between those stories we also find out their medical problems, and we are able to treat. Now we are good or bad part is you can't treat all patients. Some patients are treatable, some are not treatable. So that's how it. So the intention here is that it sometimes feels good, like you have this power to be able to dispense medicines and treatments, and have this knowledge which empowers you to treat diseases which are considered to be very difficult to treat, or they are generally considered to be something that a lot of people are afraid of. So we generally tend to give them hope. It's important to give hope at the end of the day. So a lot of people, they'll have heart failure. They'll come to you and say, okay, so I'm going to die tomorrow. I've got a heart attack. I'm not going to survive over the next 5 years. So it's important to tell people that, that you'll be fine, that, take your medicine, stop thinking about the disease, and, just stay put. It's important to, distract them also sometimes. So which is why, as I told you, so each patient comes with a different story. It's like listening to, let's say if you see 20, 25 patients in a day, you're listening to 25 different stories. So, and stories come with, their sub stories, they have subplots, and they have nice dramas also. Sometimes you'll have certain patients arguing between themselves, husband wives arguing. So
Right.
it's fun sometimes.
Yes,
That's how
like
we have
my
our bit of fun.
parents always like argue whenever they go to your chamber. Like I have seen these, like they are like they show
Yeah,
childish.
yeah, so a lot of people are very childish. They'll come and they'll fight in front of you over very trivial things. It's like they would want to eat mutton when they know they don't want to eat mutton. They'll
Yes,
ask that same question when you know that they're not supposed to do it. So it's sometimes you'll have to argue with them. You have to tell them that you shouldn't do this, and then that's how it goes. So which is why we don't get tired. But yes, of course, sometimes it's very monotonous, which is why sometimes we take breaks. We have to take holidays sometimes. It's important for us.
yeah, it's definitely very important to keep the doctor's mental health in check,
Oh
isn't it?
yes, yes, that's very important. So doctors' mental health is sometimes not in check at all.
Yes,
So we burn out far faster than other specialties, which is why you
yes,
see doctors will want to retire very quickly.
yes. But we patients like they don't want a good doctor to uh, retire that quickly, like
See,
for
it is
our
like it's like so.
benefits.
I'll tell you, it is like a circus lion. So a circus lion is always good as long as he's performing. If he's not performing well, he's not a good lion. He's not worth doing the job. So at some point of time, we'll have to give the mantle to somebody else. We'll have to say that, okay, somebody has to do this job. You'll have to say that, okay, I can do only so much. I think it's important. Everybody gets to say that in life. It's important to say no. It's important to draw a line.
Very
It's
important.
important to stop it. So, like you said, it's very, very important. It's something that we don't practice in India.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to work beyond retirement. Everybody wants to work till 80 years of old. I mean, you work, but work for your own benefit, not for others' benefit. So, at some point of time, you need to take care of yourself also.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, uh, did you find this thing like when I got stuck? So, did you find that like did you get a bit impatient when I got stuck?
Not really, not really, not
Sir, your
really.
audio is
Why
not
would I
clear,
be
I guess.
impatient? Just hold on a second. Hold on.
No, it's not still clear. Okay,
2 minutes now, 2 minutes. So
I
I'm
have a
little low on
2 minutes.
battery.
but ঠিক আছে
Mhm.
so
No, I don't think so. I'm used to people, taking their time. So I generally don't hurry people through this unless until of course I'm in a hurry to leave.
okay, and did you enjoy this interview or did you find it boring?
No, I enjoyed the interview. So it's a good interview on a Sunday evening.
Yes, so I think that was it. So I will stop my recording now. Just hold on a second.
Okay.